artists and art lovers. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of Princeton Makes podcast, where every month we meet an artist and dive into their creative lives. And I'm Lavi-Hasson, your host, and today my guest is Claude Winn. Hi, Claude.
Hi, Zohar.
It's so good to have you here today.
So good to be with you.
Or actually, I'm in your house, so it's so good to have me here today.
It's great to have you here.
Claude, I always ask people to tell me what Princeton Makes is. Do you want to tell me, or I can also help?
I'll try, and then you can help me if I forget something. It's an artist cooperative. Yeah. There are about 40 artists that make art and sell their art. There are about 19 artists that have studios in the space. Other artists who don't have studios but make work in their studios and bring it to Princeton Makes and sell it there.
You are amazing. There is no better description. But also we are a community of artists and we support each other.
Yeah, and we add value to the community.
Yes, we have a lot of events.
Parties.
So Claude is the artist of the month of November. Yeah, 24, and Claude is also in charge with a few other people in charge of the whole concept of Artist of the Month. In this month, she's the Artist of the Month. She's going to have her work in display in our window. She's going to have an artist talk. Do we know when the artist talk is?
It's November 16th.
November 16th is the artist talk. It's going to be very special. Everybody's welcome. 6:30, schmooze, and 7 start. Okay, so maybe let's start with what kind of art do you make for people who don't know?
I make abstract paintings that are generally large canvases. They are colorful, mostly, though I do black and white.
How did you get to Princeton Makes?
Well, Princeton Makes came at the perfect time. It was literally an answer to an unwished prayer because I didn't know it would even exist. Well, we were moving to Princeton from where we lived in Kingston, and I had a big studio. Not big, but I had my own studio and lots and lots of work in that studio. And when I brought the mover, and the mover saw all my work and said, "We cannot move this." And the very same day, I got invited to join a call on Zoom. It was pandemic time, about this new co-op opening. And my first question was, will there be storage space? I'm in.
All right.
There was lots of storage space. I joined, and
so Princeton was your storage space in the beginning.
And studio space.
Yes.
Because I had nowhere else to paint. Okay. So it answered my first problem, which was where do I put the work? And then second problem, where do I paint?
Okay.
Really answered my prayers.
You've been there since the very beginning.
Since the very beginning.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background? You're from Canada?
I'm from Canada, born and raised, but my parents are from the Middle East. My mom was born in Iran, but all her family and all my dad's family and my dad are from Iraq, and they're Jewish.
So how did you start understanding that you want to do art?
Well, I think from a very young age, my mother told me that you are creative and you are expressive. And she enrolled me in acting classes, which I absolutely loved. Yeah. And that became my whole identity, was theater. I did all the plays outside of school and inside of school. It was just everything. Yeah. So I understood myself as that. And I loved the art class, but the art class didn't love me. So I focused on theater.
Why? How didn't it like you?
I had one of those teachers that was like, crap teacher. I just always had this sense that I was somebody that had to make something and do something. So I did theater, and then it kind of petered out and turned into writing.
Awful. Wait, let me ask you, is your mom an artist?
No, but she's obsessed with art. She did her degree in art history and exposed us just obsessively to all the art. That was her religion. Yeah. And so we went to every museum, that we could. Yeah. And we traveled specifically to go to museums, even in Europe. We would see a lot.
So she, how do you say this?
She indoctrinated me.
She indoctrinated you to be an artist. You had no other choice.
I had no choice. And I took art history because I was lazy. And I knew that I knew more than all the other kids who were entering Art History 101. And it would just be review.
Oh, okay.
So I did that out of a laziness decision. And because I didn't like the drama department in my college, it seemed like we would have to be reading boring things and not actually acting.
And that was in Canada still?
That was in Canada. I just made these impulsive decisions as an 18-year-old.
All right. So you studied art history, and then what happened?
So I fell in love.
Yeah.
and that became...
Not with art.
No,
only.
With Dan, with my husband.
Yeah.
And I followed him to where he did his grad school.
Which was
UMass.
Oh.
We were in Amherst.
Yeah.
And this area was very, very rich in, they had like 5 colleges, and they shared the arts programs. You could always see exhibits and see shows, see theater. It was very, inspiring to me. I got a lot out of it.
Yeah. What did you do there? Except for seeing...
I did a master's in English and did drama as well as writing classes. So then I was stuck there in UMass, so I decided to quit my job as a technical writer, which was killing me. It was literally killing me.
I was working as a technical...
I was working as a technical writer because I was Canadian and there was a visa problem. This was the only job I could get. Boring, but that's what it was. And
I can't see you do that.
No, it was like I could barely walk because my back hurt so much. My body was saying, stop.
Yeah.
But I do have a hard time stopping because I don't want to disappoint people. But I had to get into a car accident. And then I was like, now I'm quitting. This was the external validation. No more technical writing. And I did this master's program, which was just for me an opportunity to play and meet poets and writers.
So writing.
Yeah.
What kind of writing?
I was writing autobiographical fiction. So I had this funny experience where I worked for my dad at his mattress company. Yeah. And all the people that worked there were so hilarious. I needed to document it in print.
Maybe we can make a movie about that.
Yeah. It will be called Bugs in Amber.
Of course.
And then I got my degree, and then I waited for Dan to finish his PhD, which took forever. So I took up yoga.
To kill I was writing. I was like, I know yoga, I know bathing.
So after I graduated, I decided to do my teacher training and go deeper into this thing and maybe make a career out of it or something.
Why do you think you wanted that? Because I thought you were indoctrinized to do art. So what happened with the yoga?
Well, they fed into each other. They helped each other. It wasn't one or the other. I always keep journals, so I was always drawing in my journals. It was just my own little whatevers.
Yeah. So you did that?
Did that. Then my husband finally graduated, and he got a job. We had a choice between New York City and Princeton area, and I selected Princeton.
Good choice.
I know.
Thank you for selecting.
So funny because I'm such a city girl, but I thought this would be a good place to teach drama and yoga to kids, which was my plan.
Okay.
I did that briefly.
Oh.
And I taught yoga to adults who were easier to teach because they did what you told them to do.
They actually wanted to be there.
They wanted to be there.
How many years did you teach yoga?
Well, I think I got here in 98, started right away, met my mentor as soon as I moved here. And I started teaching yoga for her and for myself in my own classes. And then I got pregnant.
Oh,
yeah.
Surprise.
But I was really excited to be a mom.
Yeah.
Having a daughter made me really interested in figuring out what her inheritance was as my daughter from my ancestral lineage. Okay. So I became really interested in my grandmother and her mother and her mother, and it just really captivated me. Yeah. Probably also because I didn't get to see where we came from, and it always sounded mythical, like Babylon, Iraq. The last time my family was there was in the late 30s.
Wow.
And then they moved to India, en route to eventually Canada. Yeah. I was intrigued to learn more about my ancestry, and I interviewed family members. I interviewed my grandmother, my father, and also other just elders in the community who'd really experienced Baghdad at that time. I wanted to get a sense of where we came from and what sort of, I guess it was the time of epigenetics too, what was being handed to me and to Maya, and how I could sort of heal this karma in reverse.
And this was some kind of research in order to make something?
I was making a play and a movie.
A play and a movie.
Right.
Okay. So we have drama, acting, yoga. We have painting we'll get to.
Yeah.
We have movie maker, documentary maker, and of course technical writer.
Yes, we can erase that one.
No. Okay.
A dear friend of mine went to Princeton, but she was long gone at this point, or a little bit gone at this point.
Yeah.
She had started a documentary theater company, Annabelle Sutar. And when she studied at Princeton, she studied with Anna Devere Smith, who had the style of doing interviews and then turning those into the exact verbatim script for a play. In a play.
Yeah, that's an amazing, I just was exposed to that amazing theater style. I love it. And I saw one of Annabelle Sutar's plays, which I really love.
So good.
Yes. So you thought about doing a play like that?
Yes, because she was, a dear friend, and we were in a lot of communication. She was still trying to get me to move back to Montreal. And
failed.
She failed, but I didn't know that I wouldn't, work with her or do something, or just in parallel and use these plays and make a documentary theater piece and a documentary and who knows what. And it was all kind of brewing and stewing and interesting, and I was very engaged and obsessed the way I get with my work.
Right. While you have a baby.
While I have a baby.
Yeah. So you took the baby to the interviews?
Probably not. I probably left the baby, with my sister when we'd visit Montreal, and I'd go see my grandmother.
You took her to Montreal?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. And when I was writing, she was always with me because it was, me and Maya.
Yes. That's hard. I know how hard.
It was crazy hard.
Work with babies.
So hard, but also like life-saving, to have something to wake up for in addition to the baby, something to put my energy into. But then, Then
we have the shift.
We took a turn. We reached an obstacle, and that was that Maya got diagnosed with autism. And even in leading up to that, things were getting tricky with her.
Yeah.
I had been, applying for grants at the Steven Spielberg Foundation, trying to get attention to this movie that I was trying to make, or, in the process of researching and making interviews. And I heard this diagnosis is going to have a big impact. And at that time, autism wasn't so known. I did not know a single person.
Because we're talking 25 years ago? 24
Yeah.
years ago.
I didn't know anybody that had autism.
Wow.
It wasn't in the news. It wasn't a thing.
Wow.
So when I heard about it, I didn't know what it meant, like in terms of me.
Yeah.
Like, does this mean that I'm now going to have to just do that? Just take care of Maya and just be her therapist and coordinate all her therapy. Yeah. And in fact, that's what I did end up doing because it became obvious that that's what was needed. So
you scrapped the movie?
Yeah, just put it all in a shoebox that's literally the size of the shoes that Maya was wearing at that time.
The tapes?
Yes, the tapes, the little mini DVDs are in her baby shoe boxes.
Maybe one day they'll come out of there.
They have been coming out, actually.
Okay. But you were still teaching yoga?
I still taught yoga.
Okay.
I taught yoga as I could. And I was really working a lot I did workshops too, because I was working with my mentor, who's a meditation teacher. And gradually, as things settled down more with the family, and I started teaching more, I had a second child, I started getting some help in the house. Yeah. Maya was now 10. I started teaching in studios here, and then someone said, why don't you just turn your garage into a studio? And I had always wanted to turn it into an art studio. But she wanted to take yoga classes in my... And when I said that to my husband, he went for it. He said, yeah, let's turn it into a yoga studio.
Yeah.
You know, you could teach classes, have income, you know, and it would be good. Let's do that. So we actually renovated it. It became a beautiful project. It was like all white and then reclaimed wood, and it just had this beautiful energy.
Yeah.
So it was like setting the table for a beautiful feast, and then realizing that fast forward 2 years, I want this feast to myself.
Yeah.
The students were amazing. The teaching was great. I learned really so much. Just as I listened more to that intuitive voice teaching the classes, it started wanting me to do art.
What?
I thought, what?
What?
I'm not an artist. What are you talking about?
Came out of nowhere?
It came out of nowhere, and it like persistently nagged at me. And I was
just really wanted to make.
It really wanted to paint. Like, for some reason, I would imagine I was Yoko Ono. I had a white room, and I had black paint, and I was painting all over it. And this was the image. And I thought, I'm not Yoko Ono. I don't paint. I'm not a painter. I'm going to eventually do a play. I thought that.
So you tried to
push it away.
Yeah. But
what?
Because we know the end of that story.
I'm gonna spoil the surprise.
Yes.
I started painting.
It took over.
It took over. Like, there was this kind of breaking of the dam that I had to do, like breaking down of like belief systems and stupid ideas, really.
What?
Just, I can't do this. I don't know how. It's greedy to work on my own artwork. Like, the way I taught yoga was quite of a generous approach. I was always bringing people props and, in service.
Giving.
And so giving. And so yoga was like, the bitch comes out and she's like, get out of my studio. Don't touch my supply. Mine.
Yeah. Me.
And I found that really, really hard.
Yeah. There's something about art that you can't resist it.
No.
Right? It just comes out. It's just, you can't say no.
You can't say no or it kills you.
Yeah, you can say no for a while, but then if it persists, meant to be.
It's meant to be. Like, for me, I ended up feeling so dry and like empty. And, I just was miserable not doing it. Yeah. So then I had to do it.
Yeah.
And I had to make friends with my critic. I had to make friends with this radical energy, my inner bitch.
Really.
All these things had to come out.
Yeah.
And just support my work. and at the beginning, it was like doing black and white ink, Japanese ink paintings of my just things that related to my life at that time.
These are beautiful, and we're gonna have a link to them in the show notes.
Yeah, I don't have them published anywhere. They're Kuan Yin, who was the energetic being that like oversaw my whole studio space while I taught yoga. She was compassion embodied, and she's a Buddhist bodhisattva goddess. So anyway, I did those, and then I still tried to teach yoga in the studio, hanging up these works, and students were getting tangled up in my work, and I realized I had to stop teaching yoga.
Was that sad in a sense?
Yes. There was this FOMO of a life of this yoga teacher that I was leaving behind. But also I think there's also a fear of abandoning. Like, I thought I would be abandoning these students. But what I saw was that they were all fine.
Oh. A lesson of humility.
A lesson of humility.
They will survive.
They will survive.
But you will not survive without painting.
Exactly. It was a must. And the irony, I don't know if it's irony, but the painting made way more money than yoga ever did.
Really?
It paid for the renovation and plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is.
Which no one would have thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. So you had support from family to become an artist?
Dan loved it.
Yeah.
He loved coming home from his job and seeing me painting, and it made him really happy at that time.
At that time?
That was when he didn't start his own business, and then when he became a creative business starter. I don't know, maybe it lost its he still likes it, but it's not as as important. I wasn't the external manifestation of his frustrated creative self.
Okay. So you were being an artist now, and you were just painting in your studio.
Yes.
And how was that life, that sort of life?
It was amazing because I had all this time and space. Painting is a form of meditation. And so it was like prolonging my meditation. And so all the sort of the colors and experiences I had in my meditation, I was translating them onto the canvas. It was like a new iteration of the yoga was the painting. They morphed.
Yes.
Which is, I think, how the creative process often works, is like things just evolve really slowly into something else, and then see that you're doing something different.
Right. So how long were you painting like this? And selling, were you selling paintings? How did you get to people?
Word of mouth. So initially people I knew, and I would post on Facebook. And so Facebook has a lot of people that aren't, believe it or not, my friends. They're just on Facebook.
What? Not Facebook friends. They're just Facebook
They're
friends.
Facebook friends.
Yes.
And they would reach out to me. Also, I was in a gallery in Princeton. Yeah, so...
And then Princeton Makes opened?
Yeah.
What do you do with all the, like, do you have, I assume you have more painting than you sell?
Storage.
Storage. Do they ever come back out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I rework them. I rework everything. I work for ages on paintings. Sometimes they're fast, but a lot of them are, I might work on a painting for a super long time, but then put it away and work on it again.
You go to your studio first, you do your meditation, then you feel that you need to paint something.
Yes. I'm like filling up.
You're filling up
the battery.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
You're going to do it. And then how long will you spend on like a painting, and do you go back to it a lot before it's done?
I would, at the time that I was painting in my own studio, I would paint all day and then sometimes go back after dinner. Yeah,
wow.
I was obsessed. I had like so much work in me that had to come out. It was like pouring out. Yeah, I had no interest in doing anything else.
And then after the day the painting was done, or you came back tomorrow?
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I have one painting that I painted for almost the entire pandemic.
Wow.
And it was a huge oil.
But it's only that, or then you start another one?
I did a few small ones in the middle, but that was 4 or 5 months of every day, many hours.
Oh.
And it just keeps changing.
And do you enjoy this?
A lot of it. Then there's those moments when it's almost done, and then I probably just should put it away and start a new one.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a new painting and I can't stop.
Oh no.
So there was a lot, like a bit of just not being able to control my flow. Yeah, exactly.
You don't know when to stop.
Yeah, I didn't know when to
is the
stop.
end?
And then you have to then go another.
When is it done?
Yeah.
So how do you decide that it's done?
I think it's a process of abandonment. You know, I just flashed on children. I would never abandon my kids, but at some point you just have to let them go to summer camp, and then let them go to college, and then let them have a life, you know.
Right.
So painting is not a kid, but it's just anything else it's captured something. It's not about beauty, but it's not about beauty. It's captured a moment as best it can. Any new move will not really add, it'll just be fussy.
Okay.
And so then I leave it.
So you just let it go?
I let it go.
Even though it's not necessarily finished?
Yes, there's just no such thing.
Right. So you were painting happily for how long?
Happily for 8 years.
8 years. And then something started to whisper at you?
Something started whispering at me. That's true. I started to get this pull after seeing Bono from U2, his one-person show, which was supposed to be a book tour, but he ended up performing scenes from his book Surrender. And I was so captivated by this just touching story that Bono was telling. Now, as an older man, like I used to go to his concerts, and here he was, much older, and tenderly telling his life. And I thought, yeah, I need to do that. I just need to just do it, you know. So what I thought I would do was, like he did a book tour, I would do an artist talk
Yeah.
and turn it into a play.
Yeah.
I thought that it would be a great kind of setup for a show that I'm giving an artist talk, but it's really an excuse to talk about these stories from my life. Sorry, I have to take this. Just a second. Hi, Maya. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can wear a high ponytail for Zumba. Yeah, sure. A bun would be fine too, or braids. Sure. Maya, I really can't talk right now. I'm in the middle of something. Yeah, you decide. You know best. Okay? Bye, Maya.
So we just fooled you. This was a scene from the play that Claude is working on.
It is.
In which Maya calls her sometimes to discuss with mostly hair.
Yeah, this is a real thing that happens all the time.
In life and in the play. So tell us a little bit about the play that you're working on.
Well, it's pretty early in the stages of this play. It's turning into the story that I was working on 25 years ago. It kind of snuck up on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the grandmas are coming.
Yes, grandmas come into the play, and my mom has made her way in, and Maya's in there. So it's really a lot about, it's about the creative process, and it's about the matriarchal line. And
4 generations.
4 generations,
Yes.
what we inherit, and what we inherit accidentally, and what we choose to bestow.
So do you like writing? Are you enjoying this process?
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love throwing myself into my work. I find that's just really enjoyable. So it's not really that different than the painting, though I'm actually looking at my paintings longingly now and wanting to spend more time with them.
So you put away the paintings for a little bit?
Sort. I mean, I've made like 3 paintings or 4 paintings in the past.
How long have you been working on the play?
Since April, like as a daily writing practice. For a year, longer than that, as a casual writing practice.
Yeah. So since April, you've been working every day. You've been writing for how long? Again, a whole day?
Yeah.
Going back after dinner?
No, sometimes, I do have other things I have to do. So I have a couple of days where I'm on Maya duty, and so I can't really write during the day those days. But
you're very dedicated to your work.
I am.
Because you like it, though.
Because I'm obsessed.
Yes, you're obsessed. But you enjoy your obsession.
I love it, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and I usually have a way of pulling in great people to work with, which makes it more fun. Like you.
We worked a bit together on it.
We did.
And now you work with a professional.
I'm working with June Ballinger, who's she's an actor, and she was the artistic director of Passage Theater in Trenton.
And you're going to act in this and write it?
Yes.
And where do you see it playing?
It's a huge learning curve.
Yeah.
I see it playing in a nice theater.
Yes. New York City?
Yeah, I see it in New York City or other cities as well. Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Edinburgh. Who knows?
So really what we're saying here is that your art is like an urge, and it just morphs into a different type of art making throughout the years. And who knows what are you going to do in 10 years? I can't even imagine.
I know. And hopefully it gathers and collects and like uses the old parts.
Yes. It's all maybe one thing.
The whole thing is one thing.
It's one big creation.
I agree.
Yeah.
It just sits there waiting for you to see it and do it.
Explore it in different ways.
Yeah.
All right, so it's time for our game, Ask the Artist, where we ask artists the same questions and we want to get an answer that is 1 or 2 words. Can you do that?
I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. What is your favorite artist of all time?
David Bowie.
Oh, I love David Bowie. What is your favorite material to create with?
Paint.
What is the space that you feel most creative in?
Wherever I am not being interrupted. Okay, 1 word. Studio.
What music or podcast or nothing you want to listen to when you create art?
Music.
Music.
I've also done books. Yeah, as long as it's in the vibration of the painting.
What is your worst artistic nightmare?
My eyes aren't working.
What is the percentage of you making art versus admin selling art and stuff like that?
95.5.
That's good. I mean, I love it. It's good financially. It's good for
Hopefully
spirit.
not good financially. Probably changes sometimes.
How do you feel when you make art?
Flowing.
All right, good job, Claude.
you.
Nice answers. I'm going to say again that we're going to have links to Claude's paintings and art in the show notes. So if you don't see it, you will need to scroll up a little bit. So we talked about your artist talk already. How can people find you otherwise?
I'm on Instagram at @CWinnArt. And my website is claudewinn.com.
So thank you, Claude.
Thank you, Zohar.
Pleasure.
It was fun.
Thank you for the tea.
You're welcome.
We are Princeton Makes podcast. Our designer is RD. Our theme music is by Renata Pugh. I am Zohar Lavi-Hasson, producing and hosting. If you have any questions or comments, please email to our email address, princetonmakespodcast@gmail.com. Also, please let us know if you want to be added to our mailing list, because we have a lot of events and we send a monthly newsletter. Please rate and share this podcast so it can reach others and maybe inspire them to create. Princeton Makes is located at the Princeton Shopping Center, and we are open Thursday to Sunday, 10 to 6. Until next time, be creative and kind.